Surprise! We're back really quick with Seth. We just found something out that I had no idea about. And you waited till the cameras and everything was off to share this full circle moment.
I know.
Wait.
It's the universe.
It is the universe, but we've met before.
Yes, we did.
And you didn't even tell me at the start of our conversation about our moment. Wait, take us back.
This is me trying to be my demure self. Very, very humble. No, we met like 9-10 years ago.
Wow.
When I went to see you at tapings of Girl Code Live in Times Square.
That's right.
And when I found out about this podcast, I immediately was like, wait a second. I know Nessa.
Yeah.
That name sounds really familiar. And so I'm scrolling in my photos, and there it is. I have multiple photos with you from when I had first moved to New York.
Oh my.
Can I tell you how crazy that is, that this is a moment right now?
Full circle.
It really, I feel the full circle of it all.
It's the universe.
Seth, are you going to be our friend now? Or are you going to leave us alone? Are you going to
You can't
abandon
get rid
us?
of me.
Was Nessa nice?
You can't get rid of me.
Was Nessa nice?
Come on.
I have a soft spot for Tauruses, so like, you could be nice, you could be mean.
No, but this warms my heart in a special way, you know, because it's like we came out to New York. Think about it, trying to make our dreams come true.
Yeah.
And moving things forward. And then 10 years later, we meet each other again.
Yeah.
And look at us thriving and, just coming into ourselves.
Yeah.
And meeting in a different dynamic.
This was not on my bingo card for 2024 at all. But this is the kind of thing that also makes me love living in New York. Like,
That's
you
right.
never know who you're going to run back into, like who is going to come back into your orbit.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy that you did.
Oh my gosh, Seth, that's it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew your vibe. I knew I was going to really enjoy this, and it all makes sense. You're stuck with us. Sorry. That's how it's going to work. And oh my gosh, you made my heart really happy. And I feel so full. Thank you so much, Seth.
Thank you.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
That's so wild.
Seth. Seth, we are having such a great conversation offline, and now the cameras are on, and we actually have to talk about this right now. Astrology. Seth The Stargayzer. Welcome to the show, Seth.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is such a pleasure because I'm obsessed with astrology. I'm obsessed with everything I have no idea about. That's like honestly where I am in life. But I love astrology. I don't know why. I don't really understand signs, houses, or anything. But that's why we're talking to you.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, you're an expert. You provide services. And that's actually how we came across your page, was because Katrina B, the producer, knew someone that was raving about you, was talking about how incredible you are. So I say that, at the beginning of our conversation, because I think that's important. Like, we heard about you because someone genuinely really loves what you do.
I take that to heart, and I appreciate it so much because everything in my practice is so much about like the people that I work with. And that's honestly why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you that space to connect with people and to like actually get to know them deeply, which I don't find I get to do in a lot of other spaces. So I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you.
Oh, of course. And I'm happy that you're here with us. As a side note, for anyone who's watching, wondering where Katrina B, the producer, is, she has been cast off, booted out of here because she's got some type of sniffle, and we're not having it, Seth. I have a child, and if I got sick and I take down the whole family, it's a nightmare. So she is off to the corner, but she's still part of the show.
Hi.
So you see her, she's still wearing her mask. By the way, how disrespectful is she? She took off her mask and was blowing her nose right now. And I was like, this completely defeats the purpose of you sitting there.
What am I supposed to do? Blow my nose with my mask on?
Go another room.
I was blowing it off to the side, not even facing your direction.
Great. Now we're going to have to go home and take emergency, Seth. And that's just what it is.
I've got my Theraflu ready to go. On lock.
Ready to go. Okay. So Seth, you know what I love? That when I was looking information about you, this really stood out to me. It said astrology for well-being.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like you put that intentionally.
Yeah.
Why?
Definitely.
Explain to me what that means and why is that important for you?
I am so passionate about health and wellness and well-being. And one of the beautiful things about astrology is that you could use it literally for anything. You could use it for fashion. You could use it for music. You could use it for health and wellness. And I sort of see wellness or well-being as being about like 4 pillars. You've got your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health and well-being.
Sure. Yeah.
And astrology can essentially give you the blueprint for how to best take care of that for you, knowing that everyone is different with like what they need, what makes them feel good, what makes them feel balanced. And yeah, it's like all available to you when you just like look at your birth chart. You can literally see what will give you the most sense of like, I am balanced, I am well.
This is so interesting. Okay, so first off, how did you get into astrology? Like what attracted you to this?
I didn't know about it up until like 2017. I was working in fashion at Vogue, literally living like the Andy Sachs in Devil Wears Prada
Stop
life.
it.
Like, that movie did not exaggerate, by the way, about what it's like.
Are you really?
Yeah, it was a wild time. I was there for like a year and I met now one of my really good friends whose name is Alice Bell. She's also a full-time astrologer and she gave me a birth chart reading in the office. And then I was immediately just obsessed.
Are you kidding me?
Like, what is this? I need to know absolutely everything there is to know about it. Yeah. And now fast forward, 8 years? It's just become like almost another language where similar to like Spanish or like learning another proper language. There are so many different things that you can like weave into it that I finally felt fluent in it a few years ago. And yeah, now I'm just like excited to use that to help other people feel better.
Okay, wait. So we have to talk about that a little bit. What was your favorite memory when you were working at Vogue?
Definitely by far going to the Met Ball in 2018. It was Heavenly Bodies.
Okay, that was the theme.
Yes. I will never forget seeing everyone in their like super regal like get up.
Yeah.
And there was a moment at the Met Ball, which I will always cherish, where they brought in like all the cardinals, all of like the opera singers for the performance.
So cool.
And before the event started, I met the cardinal and he like gave me a quick little blessing before it started. And I'm like, everything good in my life that has happened is thanks to this cardinal at this Met Ball.
That is so cool.
What was your favorite year?
I think when Colin and I went 2019, it was a different experience. It was so great. There was a lot going on.
It's so chaotic.
But I think what I loved was that the love, anytime I see Colin getting the love that I believe he deserves, I just get really, really happy. So it doesn't matter where, but I also feel like, I don't know, it was just different. Like we walk in and it was just very lavish. It was very like, hello, I am here, look at me. And I remember thinking like, am I able to channel my inner Tyra Banks smize?
I think you've got that on lock.
I think it looked like maybe like an eyelash was off here and there. Sometimes I was looking a little like funny, like, but I really had a good time. Oh my gosh, my fake nails are popping off.
Oh,
that night. I'm not kidding you.
Did you
True
lose
story.
any?
I found one literally like one, you know how you sit at the tables?
Yeah.
So Anna Wintour had Colin next to her and we're at the table and I swear my nail kept popping off. It was my thumb.
Just like
and so then I kept holding
night long.
not in front of Anna. I was like this, holding it like a loser, but I didn't want, like I was trying to hide my thumb. I was this and that.
Yeah.
Then I would kind of, apply pressure, hoping that the super glue would start working again because it was just temporary. It went with the look, it wasn't like a full thing. I should have got gel X, but I didn't. Anyway, long story short, did I ever share that with you, Katrina? I think you knew.
I don't remember.
I kept talking about my damn nails popping off, but yeah.
This is why you
By the
gotta
end of
keep
the night, I was crazy. I was like half off, hair was messed up, my dress ripped a little bit because everything is like to perfection on you.
Yes. Oh my God. And at a certain point, it just becomes like a party anyways. So
exactly.
you just got to make it to that part of the night where you can just sort of like start dancing and having fun and enjoying the performance.
Did you run into anybody that you're excited about? Like anyone that you're just like, oh, I didn't realize how tall they were, or they were really nice, or they kind of ignored me. That's fine. You know,
There were a couple of people. I think my standout moment was right after the performance by the choir. I was helping to kind of usher everyone into dinner, and I saw Ariana in her beautiful, like Sistine Chapel gown. One, I did not realize that she was going to be shorter than I thought. But I'm also 6 foot tall, so it's not really fair.
Right. Yeah, you're tall.
But she was so sweet. And I
That's
actually
nice.
had been thinking about that recently after seeing Wicked recently. I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh my God.
Did you like Wicked?
She's so sweet. Oh my, I'm about to go see it a third time. I think that
Damn,
says,
it's that
yeah.
good?
It is worth the 23 years that it's taken for them to take the play to the screen.
It took 23 years?
I know. Decades in the making. And it paid off.
Now, what did you think about, have you watched it on Broadway?
Yeah.
Okay, I loved it.
Okay.
So I just
you'll
don't
like the
want,
movie.
of course.
Yeah.
But, okay. So I'm not going to be let down by the movie.
Definitely. This is a very faithful adaptation
Damn.
from the play. You
Seth,
even get more from it too. I mean, yeah.
really? Okay, Seth, you are putting a lot on this. I'm going to go and I'm going to think about you the whole time. I'm going to be sitting there like, well, Seth told me, so I'm going to do this. Okay. All right. Okay. So that was your experience at Vogue. Now, do you still enjoy doing fashion stuff and being in that space?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It's still very integral, honestly, to what I do with the Stargazer. I have a very, I guess, aesthetically oriented relationship to
Your page
pretty
is
much everything I
absolutely
do.
stunning.
Thank you. I try to evoke the feeling of what you'd get when you're in the Caribbean
Yeah.
watching the sunset.
Yeah.
Because I want everyone who comes to either get a reading with me or just who's coming to my page to feel like a sense of warmth. So yeah, the fashion element is still very much a part of it.
Yeah.
But I would say now there's more of an emphasis on what is happening underneath what you're wearing. Not that that's not important. I think it all plays its own role.
For sure.
But I will always be
Yeah.
a Vogue girly for life.
And you know what? It's effortless for you because you walked in here very fly, and it's effortless. You know, when you see someone dress and it looks so good and effortless, and then you're like, man, I know if I try to wear that, I would look like a tomato right now. If I wore your sweater, I would look like a tomato, but it looks so good on
Kool-Aid
you.
man.
As a Leo, I will take all the compliments.
Come
I
on now,
love it.
Leo.
Yeah.
Come on now, Leo. Okay, so Seth, let's get to it. Let's talk about astrology. This is your wheelhouse. This is what you do. You provide services. Someone can book you because they want to learn more about their self in a way they may have not known, right?
Yeah.
Or just, getting some type of blueprint by understanding their full self.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do?
So there are a few things.
Okay.
One, when it comes to chart readings that I offer people, usually people will come and they'll start with a birth chart reading.
Okay.
Where you're essentially taking a snapshot of the sky at the moment you were born, and you are looking at all the potential that lives within you. I
Ooh.
find it's really helpful for people who don't necessarily know what their path is,
Yeah.
Maybe they're feeling a lack of purpose, or just not necessarily entirely aligned within what they want to do, what their thoughts are what thoughts are having, what emotions they're feeling. There's just some sort of discordance. So we'll usually start there, and then it gets really juicy because then you can start doing transit readings.
What's that?
You're looking at what is to come. So you can start to see when am I getting married? When am I
Whoa.
having kids?
Oh my.
When am I having my big break in career? You can see all of that when you're looking at transits and other timing techniques in the future.
Oh, this is so cool. Okay, wait, hold on. Stay right there. Okay, wait. There was another chart that we brought up. The synastry chart.
Yes.
What is a synastry chart?
You're basically taking two people's birth charts.
Okay.
And you are comparing them to each other.
Okay.
So you can see where there is friction, where there is a mutual understanding of each other. It's really helpful for people who are either in a relationship, for friends, for parents and children. Anytime you just kind of want to enrich your understanding of the other person.
Oh, I love how you explain that. I love that.
It's a fun one. You have to go into it knowing that like it's good and bad. You know, you're going to see the whole spectrum of possibility.
Yeah.
But everything that I do in my practice is always done through a lens of like positive perspective.
Well-being.
Yes.
That's
well-being.
right. That's right. Okay. How about this? The Astrocartography. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. What? Katrina B, the producer.
Let me guess.
AKA the spelling bee #2 champ.
Let me guess. Astrocartography.
That's the one.
Yes. Okay. Katrina said it right.
Katrina, 1 point.
That one is also really fun because you're basically taking your birth chart and you're putting it on a map of the world. So you can see like where in the world will I have more of a feeling of like love and abundance versus like growth or expansion. If you're on like a Saturn line, maybe it feels a little bit of a heavier place. It's really helpful for if people are like planning a big move, if they're planning a vacation.
Wow.
You really want to find like, for example, your Venus line if you're going on a vacation just to like have fun.
What is a Venus line?
It is a line that tells you what is going to like make you feel with your senses, your physical senses, the best. Because Venus is all about like that physical satisfaction. Like what candle are you burning that smells really good? What meal are you eating that is delicious? How can you feel like really embodied physically?
When you come across somebody, right? Someone that you just like, oh, I want them to be my friend or whatever. Are you analyzing them off of their chart?
That's a trick question.
I know, right? Like, do you immediately like boom, 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 boom. We're gonna get along. Do you allow that to play a heavy role for yourself?
It depends. I would say it's usually with people that I'm closer with.
Yeah.
Where my mind is now always like, what's going on in their chart? Like what's going on in the sky that's affecting them? Because I want to be able to like add some context for whatever they might be experiencing. I don't usually like go to it instinctually when I'm first meeting somebody because I do like to let that person tell me who they are. You know, I don't want to project something onto somebody. But I also want to, balance that out with this sort of mirror that we get with your birth chart with astrology.
For sure. Okay. Wow. Okay. So much. Okay. So what is the difference between a sun sign and a full birth chart?
Oh, yeah.
Mind you, we don't know anything. This is the truth. Katrina and I, you put us together and, we'll be lucky to point out the sun at this point, right? I mean, we know there's a moon somewhere. We know there's some stars. We know the Big Dipper.
Okay.
Little Dipper.
That's not in the birth chart, but I love that you know it.
What is it? Who's that belt? Orion belt.
But
Okay.
wait, these stars, are they even have anything to do with?
So, I mean, that goes down the rabbit hole of what's called fixed stars in astrology. I definitely would recommend starting with the birth chart because you're already looking at like Venus, Mercury, Mars, all the planets. And when you start to layer in the stars, you do get like a really colorful picture of your chart. But it can get really, really complex really fast.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so interesting. Okay. We'll visit that. That will be part 2 of our conversation. Okay. So what is a sun sign and like a full birth chart reading?
I mean, the sun sign is really the best place to start when you're doing a birth chart reading because it tells you, one, it's the day you're born. So you can see like you're born
May 6th.
May 6th. So you're a Taurus.
Yes.
So you can see that as being sort of the archetypal energy that you are going to be growing into throughout life. Because the sun sign is sort of like your life force. It's that idea that you're constantly giving nourishment or energy to this sort of core being that you see yourself as.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Seth, you are a Leo. You said
I'm a Leo. Yeah. Which is actually the sign that's ruled by the sun. So
this is so crazy.
There is a whole like through line for me about really needing to, especially as I get older and I come into myself more.
Sure.
Finding my light and shining it as much as I can and being very generous with it. Because the great thing about the sun is that it is just like endless light. There is no limit or lack of light or generosity available for what the sun represents. So it's sort of this sort of unlimited potential that we have.
Okay. So as a sun sign, like, am I a sun sign as a Taurus? Or
yeah. So your sun sign would be Taurus.
Okay.
And everyone would have one. And it's different from the birth chart in that the birth chart holds the sun sign and every other planet in the solar system in that birth chart. So you're basically taking a snap, like look up, take a picture, and you can, maybe not with the blind eye, see everything. But if you were to like use a telescope, you could see all the planets, all the stars, and where they're formatted in each constellation. I really like to think of it as, so the planets are actors.
Okay.
You can get an idea, like they all have their own personalities,
Sure, yeah.
characteristics. And in the sign that they're in, like Taurus or Leo, these are costumes that they're wearing for whatever performance they're giving.
I love this.
Taurus, they're wearing a plush robe. They're at the spa.
Come on now.
They are really cozy.
Keep going. Tell me more.
And then you can see the house that they're in, which is sort of like the stage that they're performing on.
Yeah.
So like what area of life is that really highlighting? And then when you start to pull in the aspects or like all these lines that are drawn between them, you get basically like the narrative. Like how are the characters interacting with each other? How is that changing over time? And I'm such like a content junkie where I'm like, the more that I think about it in those terms, the easier it is for me to understand like how it all starts to play out.
That's
within
right.
my own like personality.
This is the first time I've ever heard anything about astrology and I actually understand.
Oh.
Like
My job is done here.
I get why Katrina's friend
Nicole,
raved about
shout out to
you.
Nicole.
Shout out to Nicole. I didn't know, shout out to Nicole. But she was raving about you. So like it totally makes sense. Like that was a genuine, feedback. Now, Katrina, you are what at this point? Aquarius?
You are a hater and I'm an Aquarius.
She's an Aquarius.
She, even more so than an Aquarius, I know you have your sun sign in Aquarius, and I don't want to take away from that because that is very much the case. But you have like,
come on now,
you have 5 placements in Capricorn
that are scary. I know.
You said it, not me.
That's right.
What does that mean?
It's basically like, so your sun sign is in Aquarius, like that's not going to not be true, but because you have 5 different placements in Capricorn, you're going to be way more of like the Capricorn archetype than you would be the Aquarius.
I agree.
Because all that concentrated energy is really emphasizing what Capricorn is about for you, a little bit more so than Aquarius, but they're actually kind of similar signs. So
what is a Capricorn in her case? Like what energy does she really give?
Capricorn is the GOAT. It's the greatest of all time. They
oh
are
my gosh.
the like work your ass off and you will succeed kind of energy.
Look at her. Look at her.
Because I know you hate it, Nessa.
Because I know, but I do believe you're the GOAT.
Well, thank you.
I believe you're one of the laziest goats I know, but I do believe that but you are the GOAT.
But I don't get it. So the placements, is that based on the time or based on the date?
Both.
Okay.
Time and date are what are going to tell you.
So it's not
where
just
things are.
in Aquarius because I fall within the realm. It's February 5th, 9 a.m.
Exactly.
Or excuse me, 6 a.m.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So if you were to take, for example, your sun sign in Aquarius and thinking of that idea of like, what's the costume that Aquarius is wearing? Well, first of all, the sun we know as the actor is sort of like the main character. The Aquarius costume is something like, I don't know if you guys have seen Phantasmus by Julio Torres on HBO.
No.
But
wait, what? Tell me the plot of it because I might have.
It's like surrealist. There is no plot. It's just sort of like you're in a dream and every sequence is like vignettes of New York City where you're sort of just like on an adventure like you would be in your dreams.
Maybe Colin watched this because Colin, he goes down these rabbit
It looks
holes.
cool.
Yeah, it might have been something that Colin's watched.
So is it the main character? Is that my style?
Exactly. So like Aquarius is that energy of like, it's not doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. It's wearing something that's a little bit zanier.
Yes. Am I doing just zany? I don't know. Sometimes I try to be shy, so I try to just blend in.
Well, that's the thing is because it's the sun sign, you have to think of this as the energy that like you are growing into. So it's not necessarily one that will come supernaturally all the time for you because you have so much Capricorn energy in your chart. It actually makes more sense that there would be a little bit more of like the shyer or more like introverted energy because Capricorn is that like earthy, grounded, just sort of like wants to show up, do the work, collect the flowers.
Yeah.
And, like continue to like thrive in peace. Whereas Aquarius is a little bit more wanting to like express that outwardly kind of energy.
Definitely Capricorn.
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
interesting.
You
That
really
is
strike
definitely-
me as like Capricorn
Really?
energy.
For sure.
Can you
100%.
tell based on our conversation before I told you when my birthday was?
A little bit, not entirely, because what the thing about the energy of like your Capricorn placements is that they're they're a mixture of like, you've got your Mercury, your Venus, your ascendant, your Jupiter, and your Neptune. And so like, you've got all these different things, but you really need to like have a conversation with somebody, I would say, for at least a couple of hours to like really start to see how their expression of Capricorn is going to come out. Because every sign also exists on, in my practice, at least how I see it, is it's like a spectrum. You know, you can see something either on like the shadow side of that spectrum or the light side of that spectrum. And it all depends on like your own self-awareness with like how you are as a person. Are you like self-sabotaging yourself, or are you coming into your best, highest self? And that can kind of show you like, is your costume clean, new, or is it like dirty, needs to go to the laundry kind of vibe?
Wow.
And is that something you could do? Can I launder my costume?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I'm also like the astrological laundromat, if you will.
Go now and get a reading.
Yes. Yes.
If someone's looking at the work that you do and they're like, you're kind of like a medium, is that similar or not really?
Especially with the transition. What is that chart called?
The transit chart?
Transit chart.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see how there would be overlap. What I will say is like, when it comes to mediumship, like I'm not talking to dead people.
Right.
I mean, I wish I could.
Right.
That would be great. What it's more so, I guess, useful for is like, you really have to cultivate your intuition and trust that, because you are essentially reading somebody without fully knowing them. And so you want to do as good a job as you can to like see them for who they are without projecting onto them. So it's a fine balance of like trusting and cultivating your intuition with also just like, astrology is just patterns. Honestly, it's like the same thing happening over and over again. And at a certain point, you can really start to see how people are very similar to each other. Like Capricorns are very similar to each other. Tauruses are very similar to each other because there are these consistent patterns that they show.
How interesting. Okay. So does it matter if someone doesn't know the exact time that they were born or anything? Like, is it going to impact you or anybody, you know, giving them a reading?
To an extent.
No.
So the thing about having all the birth info, like the time, the date, and the place, is that you get a super accurate picture of your birth chart from the perspective of where you were born. You can still see a lot of that without things like the place or the time. Like if you just know what day you were born, like you can still see where all the planets were in all the different signs. You're just not going to get that layer of like the stage element where it's the house system. That's really where like the time and the place come into play. But if you're just getting into astrology anyways, then it's almost better if you don't, and you're just starting with the planets and the signs, because that's already so complex. Like there's so much to dig into there.
It is. So how can we simplify this? How can we explain what the house is?
I mean, I like thinking of it as the stages. So for example, like the first house, there are 12 houses, just like there are 12 signs.
Okay.
And the first house, for example, is the first house of self. It's the only place in the chart that like is truly about you. And so it's like your personal image, how people see you, maybe before they get to know you and see that sun sign on the deeper level. But it's also like your style, your treatment of like your hair, your skin, your nails. It's that surface level exterior.
Just so I'm with you. So it's broken up.
Yeah.
And we see 12 kind of spaces, right? And those are representing 12 houses.
Exactly.
So we all have 12 houses.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, we're rich.
Yes.
We're rich.
Abundance.
We're
everywhere
rich,
you look.
everyone. Yeah. We're rich. Wow. Okay, so before we talk about houses really quick, because I'm just imagining a chart right now and what I've seen online. Are you good with math?
It was my best subject in school.
I
love math.
Okay, so this is my theory. In order to be a good astrologist, you have to be really good at math.
Yeah, without a doubt, actually.
Oh my gosh.
You can't do one without the other.
I'm an astrologist. No,
you're not. You'll never be an astrologist.
I'll never be. I'm so horrible in math. I'm good at philosophy, though.
There's also a lot of that in astrology.
Like, I'm great at philosophy. Like, I can do it. But I knew you were good at math because just the way you were talking about.
What's 5 times 5?
25.
Wow, Nessa, go ahead.
I'm an astrologist.
Okay,
Come on. Okay, wait. So is math a big part of astrology? Because you were talking about patterns, and I guess I was like, maybe it was a kind of a far reach, but what is math? How does it play into astrology, if anything?
Yeah, it's because there are so many patterns in astrology, which is where the math comes in. And so when you're thinking of like the cycles that the planets have, like, for example, we know 365 days, or it takes the Earth that long to rotate around the sun. Every other planet has their own cycle around the sun. And each of those are really important to know and understand when you're thinking of astrological interpretation. So as an astrologer, I have to be thinking of like, what's Mercury doing right now? Like, how far away is it from the sun? Like, when are they going to have their New Year day on Mercury? Because that all can play a really important role in the interpretation of like, more so the transits and like what you're getting into in the future than the actual birth chart.
Yeah.
But there's really no limit to what you could do mathematically in it.
Okay. Now back to the houses. I see this chart.
Yeah.
I'm seeing 12 spaces, and those 12 spaces represent a house, and we're rich. Okay. So so in each space, it represents something. So space number 1 is self.
Yes. And you can also think of it like the progression of our development as just human beings. You're born, your first year alive, you are coming into your body for the first time.
Yep.
That's your first house year. And then from there, every year continues that development. Your second house is when you're figuring out what your values are, what your gifts and talents are.
This is so interesting.
Enable you eventually to like get a job and make money and all of that. And then the third house gets into your communication, what you like to learn, how you like to speak. Fourth house gives you a sense of like home and family. And that just keeps progressing all the way to the 12th house until it resets. And so you can even think of that like every 12 years, our cycle of development also resets itself.
Stop it.
And you reflect that back in astrology, you can really see how there is this sort of ever evolving pattern that we're in, where like every 12 years, we're kind of coming back to the same place, but from this new perspective of like, wow, I've learned so much, I've experienced so much, like a little bit of a better handle on it now, hopefully.
This is crazy, and it all makes sense to me. I'm
glad,
having a moment like, Seth, what? You are good.
It's not an easy thing to explain, especially without visual references.
But you really did right now. And like, I actually caught it. That's nuts.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's
wow,
one of the hardest things to learn. So yeah, whatever I can do to.
Okay, so in each space, what can pop up? Do you know what I mean? What would we see?
When you have like a lot of planets in a particular sign, that means that one particular house is going to be emphasized, meaning that area of life, that stage, is going to have a very special importance for you. If we want to take Katrina as an example in her birth chart, Katrina is a Capricorn rising. So Capricorn for you, you've got 5 planets there, making the first house really important for you. A space of self.
Like how she looks?
It's everything from like how she looks, but also to a sense of like really feeling like an authentic sense of self within, and also like making sure people can see you authentically.
Oh yeah, you know why? Because she's always worried, like, oh my gosh, what, do you think people really know? Like, I'm not really trying to do X, Y, Z. I'm like, if you don't shut up at this point, I don't care. First off, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
Because but she does care. That's so crazy you said that. She just did it. That's what's crazier.
What?
I act like I don't, but when it's certain things, I don't want people to think I'm being mischievous or like being cutthroat.
Yeah.
That's more what it is.
You've got an energy, at least based on your birth chart, where it's like what you see is what you get. There's not a lot of like, oftentimes when people don't have a lot of placements in their first house, you can more easily slide into a place of like, you have one personality in one environment and then another in another. Whereas when you have so many placements in your first house, it really does create a certain sort of alignment in like who you are, no matter where you're at or who you're with.
Oh.
I agree. That too.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
I have a lot of different friend groups that, I don't know if this relates to that, but yeah.
I also think she doesn't know, no, actually, yeah.
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to make a joke. I was being mean. I
think I can move within a different sets of people. Like if I'm at work, I can pal around at work. But I'm with these homies or whoever.
But you know what? I also think this is my theory on Katrina. Tell me if I'm wrong based on her chart, because you know her better than me at this point.
Seeing like a map of her soul.
I think Katrina doesn't really get deep with people. So she can have a lot of, she's good. She can like, hey, what's up, Eric? Hey, Harrison. Hey, Seth, what's going on? Let's go to the bar.
Yeah.
Like she could do that with like hundreds of people. It's hard for me to do that.
I don't know if that's a compliment or
I don't know, but I'm just saying her level of depth is not, it's shallow, but not in a bad way. Just, she can touch and go.
To give you credit, we have talked about this. I don't get too deep with folks. Like,
she doesn't.
Hey, you want to let's hang out. But if it's bad vibes, we're not going to hang out. But if we can hang out at this level and it's good vibes, we can do that for the rest of our friendship.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That also makes so much sense for having so much Capricorn energy, because Capricorn is not like an extremely like wearing their heart on their sleeve kind of thing where there's like emotions influencing every decision.
Yeah. Yes.
It's definitely more of like the grounding force for everybody to just like, okay, like we're all here. You know?
Yeah. See? It doesn't make it bad or good, because I think when I say it, I think she thinks like I'm saying like she can't have like deep conversations, which she can't, but but like to a certain level, like connection, like feelings, it's like a really, that it's like there's a little bit of a disconnect, but I think that's what makes her great.
One of the best things about the birth chart that I always like to start with when you're trying to like figure out, especially the emotional stuff.
Yeah, come on now.
You got to look at the moon sign. The moon sign will tell you not only like what you're experiencing emotionally, but also like what you need to feel emotionally secure, taken care of. It's a really important one because you can't really do anything else until you're feeling a good emotional state. And you have your moon in Pisces, which is actually a water sign known to be a little bit more emotional, but Pisces is very internal. Like Pisces is not the kind of energy that like is projecting itself outwards in a way where you might get like a Cancer as a water sign.
Oh yeah. Cancers are they're emotional.
Very, like they're the ones wearing their heart on their sleeves.
It's excessive.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, we just, hey, Harrison. Yeah. They're very, okay, we love you, Harrison. Harrison's part of our crew here. Okay, that's interesting. So now, because I know nothing, so we have our house, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have our sun sign, which is like the day we're born.
Yep.
So what does the moon have to do with this? Like, where does the moon come in?
Yeah. So with the moon, if you're thinking of like the sun being that life force that's helping you to grow throughout your life, the moon, just like it is in the sky, is sort of how we are taking care of ourselves and resting in between that growth. Like, what do we need to sustain that sense of forward momentum? Because you can't just constantly be pushing forward without tending to yourself. And the moon sign will tell you, like, for example, if you have a water moon, which I also have a water moon, things like taking baths, being by water.
She's terrified of water, can I tell you?
Really?
Not terrified of.
She's terrified of a shower. No, I'm kidding.
No.
She is. We went to the island. Seth, you need to help her. She would not jump from a dock into the water.
It was like 20 feet high.
Bro.
Okay, it wasn't.
Bro. She had life jackets on. You know the things that kids wear, the floaties?
Yeah.
She had the floaties on.
I'm afraid of open water. You don't mess with Mother Nature.
It's not open water.
It is open water. That is the definition of open water. It wasn't like a cove. It was open water. In Mother Nature, you don't mess with her.
Here, I'm thinking it's like the Caribbean Sea, like turquoise waters.
It was flat. I mean, it was so steady. I was just scared.
It was steady. You could see through the water. I was like, Jaws is not here.
I had a bad experience at the North Shore. I got tossed around and like 1 foot away from the what do you call that? The sand. What do they call that?
Now we need a waterologist. We need someone to
I got tossed in the wave and I forever was scarred.
So Katrina does not, it breaks my heart because there's times I want to go swimming with her, but then I realize she can't.
Yeah.
I can swim.
Maybe stick to the Caribbean waters instead of like the deep blue sea.
I just want to clear that up. I can swim. I'm just afraid of deep waves taking me off someplace.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Okay, fine.
I can swim, bro.
There are plenty of other things too that you can look to just besides the like element of your
Of
moon
water.
sign to like see what you can find nurturing from.
So technically, if you are a water moon, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So you tend to gravitate towards more water. Is that how it kind of works? Not saying all and everything is like, you know, for certain, but for the most part.
Just like watery themes tend to be really important when you're like looking to feel well. So whether that is like physically being in or around water, or if you think of it in the sense of like water signs being the more emotional signs, it also translates to a sense of like really feeling emotionally authentic. Or at least you can have a sense of emotional connection with a person. If there is like a disconnect emotionally for a water moon, it's sort of like, why am I doing this? If it doesn't really feel real, you know?
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. So how many different, I guess, signs are there for the moon?
Well, the moon could be in any of the 12 zodiac signs, but there are only 4 elements. So water, earth, air, fire. And those are a great starting point because those really give you like the foundations of what you would need to like look at what you feel best in or around.
So for you, when you're doing a birth chart reading, you're able to see the sun, the moon, the houses. What else am I missing?
Every other planet in the solar system.
Okay.
From Mercury all the way out to Pluto.
And what does that mean? Like how it impacts you?
Yeah, I like to think of it as though like with so many planets in all these different places, they all just like make up a different part of our personality. You know, like where the moon is your emotional state, your sun is sort of that ego life force. Then Mercury is the way that your mind works. Venus is the way that you experience taste and desire, relationships.
Wow.
Mars is your sort of like masculine side. How do you express your drive, your motivation, and your will to like assert who you are and what you want? And then those are like the personal planets that are really more about like that interpersonal reality that you have. Whereas then you have like Jupiter and Saturn, the social planets that are about, Jupiter is all about growth and expansion. Saturn is all about maturity and sustainability. And then you get the outer planets, which are more like generational influences. That you can really see how they start to define like the millennial generation or the Gen Z generation. And yeah, you can get into actually a lot with that as well. It applies to your personal birth chart, but it's better when you're thinking of it like in the larger context of what generation you were born into.
This is so interesting. Okay. I think what I imagine is like, oh, you come in, you get like a birth chart reading, like, and you're just going to tell me if I'm going to be a gazillionaire or not. Like, that's like where my mind goes. But the reality is I might just see things like that are going to foster certain parts of my interest within myself, because I am like pretty self-reflective in certain ways. So like, what does someone see when they get the reading? Does that make sense what I'm asking? Because
totally.
I feel like I sound nuts.
No,
but
not
like,
at all. Not at all.
Because I'm hearing Mercury, I'm hearing all this, and how do you see the planets? Like,
you basically are looking at like a 2D map or picture of the night sky with a birth chart reading.
And based on where the planets are positioned, you are translating that.
Yeah.
Holy nuts.
In real time.
Holy nuts. We have embarked into the universe.
Wait, so what's Nessa's sun sign?
Nessa's a Taurus.
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, sorry, that's sun. What's
How long
what's
have
the
you
other
known
thing
me
called?
for?
I know that. What's the other thing?
The
called?
moon.
Oh, the moon.
So your moon's in Gemini.
There's no way.
Wow.
I don't know. It sort of is really fitting for the fact that you've got a podcast.
Yeah.
So like Gemini being the sign that is the most conversational is really perfect, because what will make you feel really emotionally well or taken care of is that like mental stimulation of having conversations about all different types of things, different kinds of people.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Wait. Okay. This is going to be crazy, but my favorite rap artist ever, but his sun sign, he was a Gemini. It's Tupac.
Oh.
But anyways, just a little fun factaroo for anyone who's listening. So tell me, how am I a Gemini moon person?
I know. And
I'm disgusted with myself because I don't think I get along with Gemini stuff. Like they just feel very insane at times.
They can be a little chaotic. for sure. Just a little bit,
you can say a lot if it's a lot. Do you really mean a lot?
Depends on when you're finding them, where you're finding them.
Depending on where you
find. Okay, that's good.
So what pisses me off? Let's talk about based on my what annoys me on my chart. You can tell Nessa, I was looking at your chart and this is the vibe I'm getting from you.
So with Gemini, with your moon in Gemini in particular, it's a very chatty, mercurial, air energy kind of sign.
Okay.
So think of that in the context that living in the head is actually really good for you emotionally. What might happen when you start to move out of that into a place of which is actually really interesting with your chart because you have so much Taurus energy, which is very grounded in the body.
Right.
There is this you have one side of yourself that's in air, you have one side that's in earth, and cultivating that connection between the mind and the body is going to be extremely important.
Oh.
Just to foster a sense of well-being overall.
Absolutely.
What pisses Gemini off? I feel like that could be a long list.
Yeah, I know. It's everything. It's everyone and everything.
I don't know. Gemini's sort of the bantery sign.
Yeah.
There's a sense of you want to be able to banter with somebody without it necessarily being taken too seriously.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Sort of
hey,
it's not that serious. It's not that deep.
Serious. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
And when you want too much, it's it's exhausting at certain points. For me, at least for me. But that's so weird. I was not expecting my moon sign to be a Gemini.
I know.
That's heartbreaking.
You learn some stuff that's good. You learn some stuff that's maybe not as.
What is there anything good about the moon sign being in Gemini?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one being that you just are a chameleon. You can really exist in pretty much any environment.
I agree.
It's the adaptability is, I think, one of the most signature traits of Gemini.
That's right.
So that automatically gives you success in pretty much any room that you're going into.
This is true.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are good.
Okay, good. Okay, now I don't feel as bad, even though I am going to reconsider my whole existence when this is done. Okay. So now that I think of it, and I keep saying this over and over just to reset it for people who are listening versus watching. So in a birth chart reading, we get the houses, then we see the sun sign, then we see the moon sign, and then we see where the other planets are like Mercury, Jupiter, and where it's positioned on the map and how that, shapes who you are.
Exactly.
Are there other things on this map that help you do a reading?
I think the last thing is just the aspects between them. So
interesting.
This actually, I think, is a good example for your guys' synastry because their aspects are basically the angles that planets are making to each other. So this is where more math comes in.
Oh boy.
Is it a 90-degree angle? Is it a 120-degree angle?
Oh my gosh, angles?
Yes.
This is geometry.
It's calculus.
I cheated in geometry. I eventually got it together, guys. Don't judge me. But okay, what?
Yeah. So with the aspects, this is where you really get the juicy information that is very uniquely you. Because planets are always moving.
Sure.
They're always engaging with each other differently. And so it's really with the aspects that you can start to constellate the real unique personality of a person. Because there are lots of other people that are going to have the same sun sign, same Mercury sign, but very few people are going to have the aspects between the planets in your chart or your synastry chart. And what I found so beautiful about the two of your guys' chart is that you have a stellium in Capricorn, Katrina, and Nessa, you have a stellium in Taurus.
What does that mean?
A what?
So a stellium is when you have 3 or more planets in one sign.
Okay, so math is not my thing. Okay, so let's do it again.
So 3 or more planets in one sign.
Okay, so I have 3 planets in my Taurus.
You have 5 planets in Taurus.
Okay.
Which is wild because, Katrina, you have 5 planets in Capricorn.
Yeah.
So you guys are, when somebody asks you what sign you are, you should say Taurus. You should definitely say Capricorn.
Really?
Because that's going to be what really comes through the strongest.
That's really who you are, yeah.
Man, I've always been so happy to be an Aquarius.
Yeah, and you're not. But anyways. Wait, okay, so we have 5?
Yes, yeah.
So what does that mean to each other?
So basically, because they're the same element, they're both earth signs.
Oh, we're earth signs.
Yes.
Okay.
Huge earth sign energy. They are in what's called like a trine aspect. So it's like a 120-degree angle with each other, which is actually the best aspect that you can get.
Oh my God.
It's the most harmonious.
Stop it.
Me
And it's because
together?
Yeah, I know. She said shockingly.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
She's choking because she's sick of me. But wow, no way.
So the reason why they're in a trine to each other is because they're the same element. Anytime the planets are in the same element, they're always going to be trine to each other, which means that there is like a really easy way of seeing each other. Because like you both sort of see the world very similarly.
It's a fact.
Earth signs are super motivated by like loyalty, practicality, stability,
That's
security.
Right. Yes.
And together, you guys sort of magnify that for each other. So it's actually really helpful to like be surrounded by other Earth sign people for you guys, because it's only going to enhance all of those themes for you.
Wow. Okay.
You'll approach it in slightly different ways.
Right.
Because you're the Taurus energy of Earth and you're the Capricorn energy of Earth.
You say it with a smile because you can tell we approach it in different ways. Huh?
For sure.
But I mean, you kind of need that, like a little bit of a different perspective, but coming from the same place is like the secret sauce for being a super successful partnership or duo.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, hold on. What is an earth sign? Like, so an earth sign is the element that we represent.
Yes.
How do we know? Like, meaning like, how, there's 4 elements.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, what? What?
Yeah.
How are we? What makes us earth signs?
Yeah.
So there are 3 earth signs.
Okay.
Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn.
Oh my gosh, my partner's a Virgo. Or maybe he won't be after this.
Well, we're going to find out.
No, that's actually what I was also going to mention to you is
oh my God.
The Virgo energy is actually very good for you. Very compatible. Like the more earth sign energy, the better.
Gosh, and you know
that's
what?
one of Nessa's best friends too, my partner.
Tone was actually my best friend initially before I met Katrina, and I hooked them up, and hence they have a child.
They do.
And not one time have they thanked me.
She wanted us to name her after her.
I even said, I'll take a middle name that starts with an N.
Her last name starts with an N.
Yeah, but my point is, Tone is amazing. Her partner is like the best. He's a Virgo, and he's like the coolest ever.
Okay, wait. You said Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo?
Yeah.
Are Earth signs? Okay, so I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, like you can take it by the seasons. Like you start out with Aries season, fire season, start of spring. Taurus comes right after, which is always the season that's like flowers are blooming. Everything is like a little bit more romantic. And that same energy that you get in the season translates into how you would interpret the sign and your energy within that sign.
Interesting.
And so, yeah, there are 3 signs for the 4 elements, 12 signs total.
Wow.
Math.
Lots of math.
There's
So what
a
about
lot of
Nessa's?
math.
What about Nessa's husband? He's November 3rd, born in the middle of the night. Whatever that means.
So he is a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Which is his sun sign. You do have a Scorpio placement
Come on
in your
now.
chart. But funny enough, it's your Uranus.
What is that?
So Uranus is one of the outer planets, typically a generational one. But when you look at it in your birth chart for like how you experience it personally, you start to see like it is your instinct for personal freedom.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like you just kind of want to have a sense of like, I am my own person, even when I am in a partnership.
Yes.
Or as a mother.
Oh my
or
gosh.
as a friend.
Come on, Seth.
What's really good about
You're better than a therapist, by the way. Like I finally feel seen. But anyways, go on.
Thank you. With your Uranus in Scorpio and his sun, they are meeting each other in a way where he would actually be the one giving you that sense of Uranus like freedom.
Yes.
To like be you.
Yes.
Whereas you would help him with his sun placement to like feel more himself.
That's so
to like
crazy.
grow into that sense of like the sun being that ego life force.
Oh my gosh. That's so them.
It's so crazy right now. And you're able, like, are you sure you don't live with us and like spy on us and like just know how we are? But like, this is crazy that you're able to look at a map and like understand this based off the placements.
Yeah. It really, I've had some therapeutic sessions, which I know I should probably give the disclaimer, I'm not a therapist.
Right.
Yet. But when you're looking at like a synastry chart reading in a relationship especially, you could really see like this is where like, if we unlock something here, like this could easily be a lifelong loving relationship because we can see each other's not only like really shiny parts,
right,
but also all the parts that like maybe we're hiding,
right, the
a little
shadow,
bit more, the shadow,
right.
And then when you can see that and start to maybe look at it a little bit more objectively through the lens of astrology, I don't know, it sort of like takes out the emotional sensitivity to it a little bit, which is so important in a synastry chart reading because you don't want to get into like a big argument or something in the middle of that. Yeah, you can really see a lot. There is no like limit to the depth that you could go into.
Like, could you like find out how I should be approaching Nessa when I have bad news or something?
Yeah, please tell her, help her, because she just needs to be better at this.
Just for example, just one thought that came across my mind. Or if I have great news or news about work. So all those things, like once I really get to know her chart or whatever, like it'll help me know how to approach her or our synastry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So for example, with you having so much Taurus energy in your chart, the instinct to feel good, whether that is like wearing comfy clothes or the delicious food that you're having, is so important to avoiding the like outbursts or anger, frustration. So like if you're going to give someone bad news who's a Taurus, the best thing is just to make sure like, do they have a pastry?
Wait, she does
have they?
I figured this out without having to check her chart.
Oh,
I bring her a gift.
Swear she does this, and I called her out about it. I said, "You're trying to manipulate me. You always do this when it's a bad going on." And I don't know. Every time, I swear,
I give you gifts without bad news too.
She goes, "Hey, I got." She'll get my daughter a little present.
That's the new move. I got
her a new book, and I'm like,
oh,
and like I'm literally raging. I can't wait to say something and go off about something she messed up on. But then she'll give me a book for my daughter, and what am I supposed to do, Seth?
And it's so sweet. It's her daughter's favorite animal, and it's Christmas.
Oh,
she got her a little owl Christmas book, and my daughter loves it, and my daughter loves Auntie Katrina. So it's like. She manipulates me. That should be part of her chart reading.
That's so funny. That's great. That's great advice.
That's the Capricorn energy too. Because the Capricorn energy, it's like I see sort of 10 steps ahead and I can like, I know what I need to do to get to that place. So let me just like take those steps to actually make it happen.
Get me a coffee.
I give you gifts without bad news. Come on.
When was the last time you've given me a gift without bad news?
I gave you that gift last time I saw you. I gave you the Colin ornament. I didn't have the bad news for you.
I feel like you pissed me off. I have to think.
I had zero bad news for you. I said, hey, do you have one of these yet?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hater.
I know. Okay. So when you look at like Colin and I's chart, is there anything that you're like, Nessa, you need to improve in this area when you're like, are you able
mindful?
Yeah. Like, you know, if you're looking at somebody's chart and you're looking at the dynamics within the relationship, and you're just like, well, this might be an area of weakness for you guys. Like, are you able to tell that too?
To an extent, really with that, you need to look at the house systems. You can see it somewhat from the lens of the planets. But the house systems are really helpful for that in the sense that they will tell you like, there are some houses that have to do with your like shadow side and like where you might even be holding yourself back in certain ways.
Oh my gosh.
And so if your planets are triggering that for somebody else, you want to know about that just because that's going to help you navigate the testy waters a little bit more.
Wow.
What you could see just from the lens of using the planet, since we don't have his exact birth time, is the Venus and the Mars and the Moon are going to be the most important relationship wise. Because those are really like the big relationship planets.
Venus, Mars.
And Venus. Or the Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Venus. What's that saying? Girls are from Venus.
Boys are from Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's, I don't know if
it comes from somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's speaking to the idea that like Venus and Mars are two sides of the same coin. One is more of like our feminine principle, Venus, and one is our masculine side, which is Mars.
Oh my gosh, Venus, the commercial razors.
Yes.
My God.
The goddess, not
the goddess
razors.
That is Venus.
Oh my gosh, this makes so
the goddess
much
of love.
sense.
The goddess of love, not the razors, bro.
The goddess of love, but it's razors.
Yeah, but the razors.
They took that and ran with it, with that commercial.
And look, I fell for it.
Yeah, it works.
So who's laughing now?
Me.
You. Wow. Okay. Mars and Venus. Got it. Okay. So when you look at Tone and Katrina, what does it say about them at all, if anything at all? Like, how does Katrina piss Tone off?
I know.
How does Tone piss me off?
I need to get more info about his chart to like really see.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I told him, what time were you born? He was like, oh, let me ask my mom. And then it never happened.
Oh.
Let me see. Hold on.
She has his text on mute because she can't stand him a lot of
I
time.
have
I'm
everybody's
kidding.
text on mute.
If you've
Nessa's
ever
actually blocked. Hold on.
If you've ever watched any of our episodes, Katrina stays,
No, I don't. Okay,
You know.
I do.
nagging him. Well, no, I nag Colin.
I do not nag him.
I nag Colin. That's my thing. That's probably on my chart as the biggest house. Nag.
You should
That's
look
me.
at what's going on between the Venus and Mars between the two of you to like really see that, because it's
Oh my gosh. I'm definitely a nag. I'm a nag. I am. I can feel it. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so annoying. I know, but I need the trash out now.
Yes. You
I
also
don't know.
all that Taurus energy can be maybe a little bit stubborn at times.
Oh, 100%.
It is the bull after all.
100%. But Colin's stubborn too.
That probably then is where
But I don't know what part of his planet life is that shows. But like I believe for Colin to have been as successful as he's been and continues to be, to have gone to the Super Bowl, all these things, like there is some type of stubbornness. Like there is I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to go to the Super Bowl. Do you get what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I feel like I have that, and it's benefited me in ways, but it's also, my demise at times.
The fact that you all have so much earth energy.
Yeah.
Because Colin also has some earth stuff going on in his chart.
Oh.
That all like really plays well into that idea that like earth signs are always going to be a little bit stubborn, but they're also like driven and diligent
Come on.
and like committed to the goal.
That's right.
And
So
we
sort
can
of
all
like,
be friends. We're all great friends.
And we
hang out
are.
together.
And we are.
I
It's
got
when
his
you
time.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
3 to 4 p.m.
Okay. That's not bad.
That's not bad. In San Francisco.
Oh, you're going to get the whole tea on this.
Am I? Oh,
yeah.
good. Oh, we could do this for like potential people we're going to date, huh?
The amount of people I talk to that literally have gone on maybe like 2 dates and are coming to do like a synastry chart reading, because you really can get like an idea of, why am I going to spend 3 to 6 months dating this person when I could just get a sense of like,
oh my God.
is this going to vibe long term or no?
That's so smart.
From a synastry chart reading.
Why waste your time on 6 months of dating and your heartbreak if it's not going to work out?
Oh, okay. I mean, already there are so many things in this that stand out.
Oh gosh, tell us the
That
red
we're
flags.
meant to be, that we're M2B.
Like, I think like one of the things like with Katrina and Tone's relationship, I always tell Katrina, it's so great. Tone loves you, but Katrina wants like massive lavish wedding.
What?
I don't know which
you
part.
said wedding.
I don't know which part of Capricorn energy this is, but she wants it all. She wants like the 1,000-carat diamond ring. She wants like a big wedding here in San Francisco as well, and in the Philippines.
I never said these things. I
can see it in your eyes.
I do want to get married. I would like to have a wedding, and I would like to have a wedding ring. Now, it's been so long that those are I'm starting to decide what I'd really want. But yeah, those are things and I don't know if I've been conditioned by society or if it's something I really want, but I've always wanted. I'm pretty traditional.
To having like a giant celebration with all of your loved
I
ones,
celebrate my love with my
love in
family.
the air.
I've been to so many great
so
weddings.
nice.
Like you celebrate with your family, everybody's celebrating your love.
Yeah.
That was cool to me.
But Tone just,
He's void of all emotion.
Yeah, he's like, why would we spend all that money on a wedding when we can just go buy a house? He's very practical. I'm more like Tone.
Boring.
I get it. I was like, I'll never forget. This is when I knew me and Katrina were different. This is how I knew the 5 signs for us were off. Okay. I was like, Katrina, go down to the courthouse, call it a day.
Oh.
And she was like, no, I want a wedding. I want him on one knee and I want a wedding. And I was like, oh.
I didn't say that. I said, I want him to at least ask me.
What
am I going to say? Hey, Tone, you know what? Let's schedule some time to go get married. That sounds like such a task. Like, are you going to ask me to marry you or no?
I still think going to the courthouse is the best.
But he didn't even ask me. So how can I even schedule that?
Well, the point is, and I told him the shape of the ring that she likes. If you know Tone, you would know that he's not necessarily the most super duper organized person. So I just don't think she fits in the schedule. That's it. The wedding.
He doesn't also subscribe to societal norms. Like, he thinks everything's a Hallmark holiday. He thinks it's all marketing and consumer. So
it is.
Yeah, but I still would like you to ask me to marry you.
This is all making so much sense seeing Tone's chart. So he has his moon in Aquarius. So that's where, like, when I saw that, immediately I'm like, you guys have some of the best chemistry there is when it comes to relationships. Because when you have your sun and moon are literally right on top of each other. That immediately is like,
that's how they have a baby.
I bet that baby also has some Aquarius in their chart too.
She's July 31st. Born at 9 a.m. Sorry, I should have told you sooner.
No, it's all good.
We're the worst, Seth.
In
We're
New
like,
York.
don't remember when we're born, time we're born.
I know all hers because I gave birth to her, so I completely remember every minute
I only
of it.
knew, if you know, so I was like, I know her time, I know where she was born.
Right.
Okay, wait. So this is good. They have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Katrina and Tone, you guys are in the clear. You guys are gonna make it.
We are.
That
Apparently.
sun-moon chemistry is really strong. What I also love is that he has a stellium as well, but it's in Libra.
Interesting.
Which actually makes more sense for why you two would get so
Oh
go
my
along so
gosh.
well, because Libra and Taurus are like besties. Libra and Taurus are the two signs that are ruled by the planet Venus. So there's a very Venusian relationship to life that the two of you would share, just like in different ways. You're more like grounded in the earthy side of things, whereas he would be more on like the relationship side of things, like the culture, the art, the Libra air sign.
Oh my
energy.
gosh, that's so Tone.
It's so Tone.
What does he do?
He's a creative that works in a nonprofit space, but he's been a DJ. He's done digital marketing promotions. Like, what would you say Tone does?
Yeah, he works with Colin.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's part of everything that we do, really, honestly, from working at our nonprofit to working with Colin on different Kaepernick endeavors. But like takes photographs, he can DJ, he can put, I would say events is his backbone, because that's what he started doing early on in his career. And for the most of it is setting up events, like huge concerts and, you know, planning for all that. So yeah, Tone's the best. He's just very practical.
That is like the perfect balance of his Virgo Libra energy. It's like the Virgo side can plan and execute pretty much anything.
Right. Yes,
but then
yes.
The Libra side needs to like be with people
Yeah.
in
Oh my
relationship,
God.
in the
He's
culture.
Such a social butterfly.
He's such a social butterfly. I'm gonna be honest. I love Tone, but it could be annoying at times when we're trying to leave a party or an event, because he's like, and you're like, bro, wrap it up.
Yes.
Wrap this call up. We gotta go.
So do people see you when they're when they're trying to find what career to go to, or is that something as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you two actually have one of the more characteristic synastry connections that I see a lot with people who find somebody who can like help cultivate that sense of purpose and passion.
Wow.
You guys have your North Node and Moon together, which is great because the North Node is sort of this life path placement where you can kind of see where you're going, how you're going to evolve. And then the moon, again, is that like emotional state. So because you guys have that chemistry, it really fosters that sense of not only like cultivating like mutual growth in the direction that you're meant to go, but also like it would feel good as a result of that too. Like the moon tied into that helps.
So when you say together, that means like together, like me and her.
This is just for you two. Yeah.
Get
Wow.
over it, Katrina.
What?
Accept that we're great. I don't know how else to tell you.
No, I'm trying to say, is it like, oh, we're both in it, or are we both in it on the path? You get what I'm saying?
So you would come to it from different perspectives. So
Wow, Nessa, we're so meant to be.
We
Who
are.
knew?
It's unbelievable.
15 years later, here we are.
Katrina, it's your North Node is the one that's touching Nessa's moon. So you are in it together, but you're coming to it like you're the North Node and she's the moon in that particular dynamic. So there's like that mutual connection that happens, but what would happen, you would more so feel the like growth through that North Node energy from Nessa. Whereas you would then give Nessa sort of that moon emotional sense of like satisfaction.
Wow.
Like that being taken care of, stimulating the Gemini.
We are so meant to be. This is sick.
This is disgusting.
I really loved looking at your guys' synastry chart because there's just like a lot of fun dynamics going on between the two.
Yeah, what else is fun?
Or not fun that we should know about?
Are there any red flags? Are we gonna explode?
Are we gonna break up?
There is.
Uh-oh.
I would say the biggest difference between the two of you is that you have, Katrina, also a lot of planets in Scorpio. Which is quite like an intense energy. It's a water sign, but it's ruled by Mars. So it's sort of like the general of the zodiac, but it's also like the strategist. Whereas you have a lot of other placements in Libra, which, like we were talking about, is more of like the mediator, the balancer, the one who is coming to like smooth things out. And that is not necessarily energy that always like sees eye to eye.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because there's just like a different way of approaching
She's
things
bossy.
in that energy.
I swear she's bossy. She bullies me. It's a fact. Anybody who knows the dynamic, she bullies me.
I'm just firm in what we need to do.
Firm.
That's that Scorpio energy. It's like,
because Nessa wants to be walking on the ledge, and I want to be like, hey, let's reel it back in, buddy.
She's a bully. It's okay. It's okay. I accept her for who she is. Okay, what other good things do you see? Or bad? We can handle it. We're adults.
Well, you know what's actually really interesting too about both of your charts is that you both have a mixture of pretty much every element, which is really uncommon. Most people will have like 2 elements with their placements, maybe 3.
Oh.
But you both have all 4. So you've got a little bit of fire, earth, air, and water with some placements in your chart.
Oh my God.
Which is really nice because it gives not only a sense of like a well-rounded quality of personality, but also like it's sort of magician energy where like you can make magic with that.
Yes.
Because you're working with all the different ingredients.
Come on, wake up, Katrina, already. God damn. No way.
Yeah,
I do.
It's really fun to have that mix because also like it helps when you're thinking of like that chameleon energy that you have too.
Yeah.
It layers on to the fact that like not only can you fit into any space, but like you can make magic in that space as well.
We can make magic. Do you hear this? Okay, seriously. Wow. Okay. What do you love about reading a birth chart?
Oh, I mean, it might be easier to say what I don't love about reading a birth
what don't
chart.
you like?
Because
you love everything.
Everything about it is really, I love being able to see somebody for like all of who they are, which I recognize can be sometimes an uncomfortable experience because the birth chart holds the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Have you made someone cry during a reading?
That's unfortunately far too common. Yeah.
What is
Make me cry.
Not intentionally.
Wait, make me cry.
Is it
Seth,
like an epiphany that makes them cry?
I don't know if that's going to, because you're a Gemini moon. I don't know that.
Make me cry. I need feelings.
It really does. There are sensitive points that you can see in a birth chart that more so can really trigger the emotions to come out. Some people will have that come out easier than others. Like if somebody has a Cancer moon, it's very easy to make them cry. Whereas somebody who has a Gemini moon, it's going to be a little bit harder because that energy is more in the head than in the body.
Wow.
What I don't necessarily always love reading a birth chart is that like I always feel like I never have enough time because there's so much that you can get into a birth chart. I'm like, how do I live in a world where I can give someone like a 3-hour birth chart reading to like feel like I've done them good service, but also have them feeling like we really like dug into the meat of things.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm exploring retreats in the future. And I'm like, that might be a good forum for doing like a little bit of a longer, deeper dive into something like a birth chart.
I think that would be amazing. I think you should do it.
Thank you.
I support it. I 1000% support it because you are really, really good. I am just taken aback at how good you are. because everything has
Thank
been
you.
spot on, and just your gauge, and you're reading it right 100%. And I actually get what you're talking about. Like I get it in a way that even if I was always into it, but even if I was a little bit like, I don't know about astrology, I have more interest than I ever had, but I understand it at a level that it makes sense to me now. I get it. And that's so rare. So can someone book you for a 3-hour session? Let's say they're like, listen, Seth, I need to go over it. I'm only in town for X amount of time and I need to do this.
Yeah. It doesn't happen often, I will say, because
why?
That's what I'm asking. Like, why can't we have that more? It's possible. Typically, what I find is when you're booking a birth chart reading in particular, that's the one that I have that like is the longest. That'll usually be at least between like an hour and a half and 2 hours. For the rest, you can usually get through like transit charts, synastry charts in about an hour.
Okay.
But there are some folks that I've been working with for years now where like we sort of customize it to their needs. And like those are the cases where we tend to go into a deeper dive, the like 3 hours long kind of conversations.
Do you do multi-sessions? Like what's a typical client for you? Like multi-sessions, once starting a new job? Like what are the parameters that people come in for?
There's a mix. There are some people who I talk to like every 3 months, and we basically do a quarterly forecast. Like what's going on for the next few months? How can I spend my time and energy in a way that's going to like do the most for me? Because you can see like what's going to make me the most money? Like where am I going to have the best relationships? So we tend to focus on that. And we'll meet up like every 3 or so months. Other people want to do it like twice a year. I always recommend doing it at least once a year because you could come for like your birthday and do what's called a solar return chart reading.
Ooh.
So like you have a birthday, you basically get a new solar return chart, and that gives you a map of the year ahead. And that's really fun because then you can really get into like, there are specific moments in that year where there are going to be pretty specific things that happen. And even though astrology isn't like a crystal ball that can tell you exactly what's going to happen when it's going to happen, it can give you a pretty close approximation. So I love doing the solar return chart readings with anyone who likes doing them.
I know you don't want to show off, but I want you to right now. Can you talk to us about just some of the stories, the successful outcomes that you've had with clients that you're really proud of? And, it's the work that you did with them and you're proud.
This is actually something I was just talking about at dinner before I came here.
Yeah.
Because lately I have almost exclusively been talking with people that I've been working with for months, if not years. And there are a couple of people, one most recently that I was like I was the one in tears on the call because we've worked together now for going on a year. And she came to me about to turn 40 and felt like there was so much in her life that like didn't feel right. And through the work that we did together, looking at her chart, looking at her timing, figuring out like when it would make sense to make certain shifts, she's now completely left the industry that she was in that was like so unhappy in to go pursue musical theater in New York City, of all places.
Wow.
And not only that, but now on our last call, she's told me something that's really stuck with me where she was like, I feel like my dreams are chasing me.
Wow.
Whoa.
And I'm like, that's so powerful to hear.
Whoa.
Because it's like, that is the case. Like when you really lean into your potential and trust yourself, like things just come to you naturally and easily and abundantly. So I was really, really happy to hear that latest news. And now she's actually living in the city and doing these auditions. So we're meeting again in 2 months. And I'm like, I can't wait to hear, like, did she get the job? Like, what auditions was she doing? I love cheering people on, in that journey that they're on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, who cheers you on?
I have so many people. I'm so blessed. It's really, Nicole being the person who connected us is a huge cheerleader for me, which I'm so grateful for. I have a lot of Scorpios in my life.
Oh my gosh, Colin, add him to the list. He's the best. He's the best.
The best. Like
the
most loyal, the most like honest and real with you. Like I'm all about being like upfront with somebody and like kindness over niceness, And Scorpios have that in spades.
Yes.
So a lot of my people are like Scorpio dominant, where like if I'm ever just like acting up or like not believing in myself as much as I should or whatever the case may be, like they're always there to remind me that like No, I am that bitch. Like,
oh yeah, that's right. Come on now.
This is like what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I really need to remember that sometimes. And I'm so lucky to have people.
Oh yeah,
remind me.
absolutely. Because I mean, not to tell you how to live your life, but you are living your purpose 1000%. Like I just hearing everything, hearing your journey and just hearing how much you care, you know, of wanting to see people do well and using the talents. And I love that you want to be better at what you do. Like I can tell there's like a sense of like, even the way you described, I can speak this like fluent now, like years ago. And the care that you have behind the art is so obvious, at least for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's someone who like, I am attracted to people who care about what they do so much. Like intentions matter, purpose matter, calling matter. And like coming across somebody that has that it's amazing. And you're good at what you do. And I was on your website because I do want people to book your services because it is rare that by the way, I am saying this because the energy I feel is amazing right now. And I want others to feel it, especially during a time where I feel like life is hard. People are going through it. Like maybe getting just a better understanding of you and self, not saying that you don't know yourself, but maybe there's certain things that you didn't know you can highlight more. Yeah. And if you can get that information by just having a conversation with you, it is absolutely worth it.
Yeah. There are so many things to look forward to in 2025. And I love doing chart readings with people, especially in moments where it is a little bit darker or heavier, because you get to point out like, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Like you have certain things that are like coming your way and we can get specific about it in that reading that will inspire hope and that purpose, but hopefully especially like that passion. Like we all need to feel, you know, a little bit of passion about our lives. Yeah. You know, what's the point?
For sure. Can we just talk really quick what services you provide and like how someone can book you? Okay. So tell us the services that you do. I haven't pulled up here, but you know,
I offer all different kinds of chart readings: birth chart readings, transit chart readings, synastry chart, astrocartography, solar return, and it's very customizable too. So if somebody wants to come and book something, but they also are like, I want to do a little bit of birth and transit, fully flexible to do that. What I will say is in the new year, that's actually going to be expanding even more. I got certified as a yoga teacher last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so now I'm also weaving that into my offerings. So I teach at 2 studios in the city, and I'll also be offering that as sort of like, let's actually use breath work, meditation, like the poses themselves, to like help ground in that idea of well-being. In also the context of like this conversation about astrology too, where like, I want to be able to give somebody like the mental and emotional clarity through the reading, the physical through like the yoga and the breath work and everything else. And then the spirituality in like whatever way feels right for them. There are a lot of different ways to approach getting all of those in like one nice little package.
I love this. Like, this is amazing. Katrina, you did good.
Thank you.
I'm so glad. This is the best. Like, I'm really enjoying this conversation, and we definitely need you to come back for sure.
Anytime.
But wait, how can someone book your services? Where can people find you?
So my website is thestargayzer.com, spelled Gayzer, because we are inclusive.
Let's go.
Yes. And that's also my handle pretty much everywhere, like on social media, my website. It's all The Stargayzer.
That is amazing. Okay, before you run out of here, because I promise, I'm going to wrap it up. I could talk to you all night, all day, all year, all forever. But here's some fun questions. Which zodiacs are the most fun to work with?
Oh, Gemini.
What about Gemini moon? Do I suffice?
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
They can do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Which sign's the most creative?
Oh, Sagittarius.
Really?
Yeah. I know. Maybe it's a tie between Sagittarius and Pisces. They're both extremely creative, but through different perspectives.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Which sign is the meanest?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Taurus. You looked at it like it was Taurus.
Wait.
Aries or Taurus.
It can't be you or me. They can't be.
You can say Taurus if it's just Taurus.
I mean, Taurus is only mean in like a loving way, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's Nessa.
Aries can be mean in like a mean way, you know?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What sign is the most determined?
Determined. Capricorn. Yeah. Capricorn has this staying power. Like when Capricorn sets its mind to something, it's doing it all the way through.
So I should just consider myself a Capricorn at this point.
My question is, how can I get that activated in Katrina? The determined part. Like, how can I? I'm just okay. Which sign is the laziest?
Oh, Cancer.
Oh, Cancer.
Yeah, but Taurus can be tied with that too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can we, on a cold day, we just don't want to do anything?
You know, just like curl up with some ice cream, a cozy
call
blanket.
It a day.
Yeah.
Okay. Which sign's the sweetest?
The sweetest?
Yeah.
Oh, Libra.
Oh, we love a Libra.
They are just full of affection.
Love. Yeah. Who's the grumpiest?
Oh. They're
Virgos.
I'm like, you could find a lot of grumpy signs. Virgo can definitely get grumpy. Yeah.
I know.
Virgo and Pisces can get really grumpy.
Ooh.
Yeah. They need like things to be in a very particular way to not be grumpy.
Oh my gosh.
That's tone.
That's tone.
Yeah.
Okay. And who knows how to get the most money? Like, who's the hustler out of all the signs?
Taurus.
Come on. Let's just.
Yeah.
The loving, mean hustler. That's who that is.
Taurus is the sign of money.
Come on. I mean, what are we talking about?
Look at the material.
I mean, the data's there. The data is there. Literally, the planets are there.
Yes.
Okay? Seth, you have to come back.
Anytime. I love talking with you.
Thank you so much. We had such a great time with you. And I because I'm so into this already, but thank you for just explaining everything and, you know, having the grace to help us understand and allowing us to be ourselves by, you know, maybe asking silly questions and being a little goofy. We really appreciate it. And it means so much to us.
Thank you guys. And I honestly have to say the same because I can't do this when other people are closed off. You know, it takes a two-way street to really be able to have conversations about all of this. So thank you guys for being so open.
Of course. And if you don't want to wear any of your outfits and want to pass it on to us, because clearly you know what you're doing.
You can raid my closet anytime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Seth.